What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Here we are with another reaction. And this one we have, is life better in Canada or the UK? Very intrigued to hear what she has to say on this one. We watched a couple of her videos so far. And before we dive into this one, if you guys happen to enjoy it, don't forget to subscribe, give the video a thumbs up. And if you would like to support this channel by becoming a member, all you gotta do is hit that join button. Receive your exclusive benefits. Stop waiting and join now.
Hi everyone, it's me. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Alana and I'm a Canadian, but I have been living here in the UK for a long time. I get asked constantly when British people find out that I am a Canadian living here and they're like, oh, which one do you prefer, Canada or the UK? And it's actually a really difficult question to answer. So I wanted to reflect on my 22 years living in Canada versus my nearly 8 years living in the UK. Pros, cons, which do I resonate with more? And obviously this whole discussion is just my own experiences, okay? Yeah. This is just what I've learned, things from my everyday life.
I think it's gonna be a hard comparison, especially when you grew up in a place for 22 years. You know that saying, "There's no place like home," and there wasn't like you didn't fear for your life in going to another country or anything, or your country wasn't war torn, anything like that. So I'm very intrigued. But she's been in the UK for the last 8 years, so UK is really her new home now. And it sounds like, I mean, if you move from Canada to the UK and decide to stay there for that long, there's something about it that just may be more intrigued than staying home. So let's dive in, though. Hear what she has to say.
Even begin. So without further ado, let's go. Let's talk about the pace between these two places. Okay. Now, one of my favorite things to do here in the UK is to go to a nice cafe, go to a nice pub, maybe one I've never been to before, have a drink, have a sit, and relax. Or perhaps try a new restaurant that I've not been to. Ooh. And just enjoy. You relax, you enjoy, you exist, and there's nobody pushing you out the door, which isn't always how I feel in Canada. I just find the overall pace in the UK is quite chill, it's quite relaxed, it's quite easygoing, slow. I like it. Obviously, this is not the case for every place in Canada. There are places that know what chill means, but I do find like you go out to dinner in Ontario, you sit down, you order, you eat, you pay, and you get out. Yeah. And you're really not meant to hang around. It's just something that I have noticed over the years as someone who loves to eat and loves to try new cafes. You know, you can just sit and you can stay. You can chill. I don't feel, in Canada, I feel a real sense of like you need to get moving, which I don't really feel here. Between these two places, I want to talk about the balance.
I feel like I love that she brought up the pace. And I feel like, I don't know, I'll be throwing in my experiences in here too, if that's cool. But in America, I understand kind of what she's talking about with that pace. I feel like, it's very hard for me to sit still and just like be present and in the moment. And my wife like hates that. She's like, you're never like present. You're always thinking about something else. You're never in the, and I don't know, like there's something about me that just always has to be doing something. I can't, it's a struggle. It is an absolute struggle for me to sit still. Watching these videos, I can sit here and like learn. If I'm watching something, even when I'm watching something, actually, when I'm in the living room, I don't just sit down and enjoy TV anymore. I'm like, I could be like getting steps in while I'm watching TV. So now I just walk around my couch constantly while I'm watching TV. And there's something about me that just always thinking of something to do and always thinking of something to do. And I think that's just kind of the mindset or kind of the environment I was raised in, especially with my dad. He's always like, even on his off days of work, he's not relaxing, chilling. There's work to be done around the house. He's cutting lawn. He's putting things together. He's building stuff. He's always finding something to do. And that is now me always finding something to do. He always told me like an idle mind is the devil's playground. And like I live by that now. But I love that she talks about the pace of the UK being slow, because that is something I do want to just be able to breathe, enjoy the moment, right? Go to a cafe, sit in it, enjoy it. Not go to a restaurant Let's hurry up and eat and get to the next thing. We got things to do, or feel like you're being pushed out the door. So I love that.
I believe that
Balance.
Canada struggles with the work-life balance.
Dang.
Humble opinion.
39 out of 40.
This whole video is my humble opinion. I hope it is improved in the future because it is something that actually could be changed. You know, they could improve it. And I really do hope they do because for me, it is something that is so painfully noticeable. Did you know that you are eligible for 2 weeks of paid vacation in Canada when you work for an employer for 1 year? 2 weeks to cover 365 days. Now this can go up to 3 weeks paid vacation when you complete
like
5 years.
I knew it.
One single employer. And you could get 4 weeks paid vacation when you stay with an employer. Guess how long? 10 years. I think this is disgusting. Here in the UK,
Absolutely.
Most workers are entitled to 5.6 weeks of paid holiday, typically referred to as annual leave. 5.6 weeks. Incredible. In Canada, it could take you 10 years to work up to 4 weeks. Again, disgusting. So one of the things that I really struggle with in the idea of moving back to Canada, in the idea of
let me go. Did she say paid holiday? I just want to see 334. Paid holiday. 5.6 weeks of paid holiday. 5.6 weeks paid. Come on.
Going back home, getting a new job, like starting over again in my home, Ontario, Canada, that really bothers me. Because I do think having adequate vacation time, holiday time, annual leave, even if you don't go anywhere, like maybe you're trying to save money, you're gonna have a staycation, but you have that time for you away from work. America is even worse for this kind of stuff. And I know there are other factors that go towards, you know, a work-life balance and having like an appropriate balance in life. But I do think largely it starts with holiday time and holiday time entitlement. And the fact that Canada's legal entitlement is so low, insane. Next up, I would like to talk about...
That is absolutely crazy. Shout out to the UK once again. 5.6 weeks paid vacation is absolutely a beautiful thing. You don't have to wait 10 years to get that. No. That's gorgeous. That gives you time to be able to go travel if you want to travel. If you're saving money, it's time to just you. For you, that gives you so much time to like recharge your battery, and that would make me want to work harder for the company because they're giving me the time off that I need in order to recharge and so now I'm gonna work hard for you because you're taking care of me, and I think that's beautiful. And shout out to the UK for having that work-life balance. Here that really doesn't exist, and me, like, I'm about to have my son this month in October, so things are about to get crazy, y'all. If I ever go missing for maybe a week or so, you know I had my son. But I just really want to be able to like spend so much time with him because growing up, like my dad was such an incredible dad. He was like absolutely awesome. But the only thing is he had to work so much that he didn't really get to spend a ton of time with us. Now, any time that he could spend with us, he absolutely would. He'd come to all the games that he could make. But like, I just want to be at everything, like, for my son. Like, I want to be at all your games. I want to be so involved in your life. And while I respect my dad because I think he's the most amazing man on earth, he sacrificed so much to take care of his family, and he took on that responsibility with no complaints. And I just watched him work so hard for us. So he's someone I look up to so much. The one thing I want to be able to do is be able to spend more time, I feel like, so I'm not stressed about working constantly. That's one thing I want to be able to do with my son, and so I want to have that work-life balance in where I work, I get that done, but now I want to just have fun and enjoy raising my child. But so work-life balance, I mean, it's huge.
about the attitude. And this one is a little bit spicy. Stereotyping entire nations is obviously a mistake. But let me share my experience. Both Brits and Canadians can be very funny, can be really funny and kind and welcoming and interesting. And to be fair, both places are built upon immigrants. But Canada is much more recent. So I had a lot of friends growing up that were first generation Canadian, even like my family. I was born in Canada. My parents and my grandparents were born in Canada, but great-grandparents and onwards were all over the place. The UK, of course, if you go back far enough, was built on immigration, but it's just like, it can be
very far.
Maybe a little bit too far removed, too distant. Now, attitudes towards immigrants.
Oh.
Here we are. I have had British people tell me, go back where I came from. I've had them tell me they don't want me here. I've had grown men email me and tell me how disgusting and horrible I am and that I should leave and that nobody wants me here. The other day, I actually had teenagers shout at me, "F***ing Yanks." But the Canadian me, I couldn't bring myself to correct them that I'm actually Canadian. Of course, anti-immigrant attitudes exist in Canada, but I feel like we are so recent. Like there's such a connection to immigrants because a lot of us still are in Canada. But I will just say there is a very loud minority, one would hope, of British people who hate immigrants and will happily tell you so. It can be tough when I have gone through so much to live here and I have fought to be here and I love it here. This is my second home. You know, I've been here for a long time and I would like to stay here for a long time. And it is kind of like, not heartbreaking, but it's upsetting when British people turn to you and say, well, we don't even want you here. So why don't you go back to where you came from? Next up, let's talk about the...
And I feel like there is that minority. I've seen like in videos, and it is kind of heartbreaking, right? And I feel like people are becoming more and more anti-immigrants. I feel like as time passes, especially I feel like in Europe, you're seeing a lot of issues that countries are having with immigration. And so that is causing frustration among citizens in those countries because the immigrants, I guess, are struggling to assimilate and struggle to the new country. And it just sucks. It does just suck. Now, I've seen other videos, there are a wave of people in UK who are all for immigration, who are all about it. And on the topic of immigration, I understand both sides of the argument. I understand how immigrants can start to be a strain on the country, how if you're a citizen and your borders are open and you're starting to see your crime rates go up, you're starting to see things go up as more and more immigrants come into the country, I understand the frustration. I get it. I completely get it. But I also see from the immigrant side of wanting to leave your country for more opportunity or for better opportunity, for wanting to get away if maybe your country's at war or maybe you're not safe in your country, wanting to get away for those reasons as well. And so it's just a struggle because there are so many good people out here that are looking for opportunity in other countries, but then you have a few bad apples, a few people who go to other countries and commit crimes and do bad things, and now the whole group gets labeled as bad, and everybody's telling the whole group, hey, go back to where you came from, hey, you're not welcome. And it's like it sucks. And I feel like that exists everywhere. Here in the US, I feel like that sentiment is here as well, and it's becoming like more and more so. And a group of people, and there's also a group of people that fight against that. And so it's just like it sucks. And for her, she's there legally. She's not a illegal immigrant. She's there legally. And it sucks when people tell you, like, hey, go back to where you came from. You don't belong here. All of that stuff. Like, I don't know. Let me know how you guys feel about that one in the comment section.
We don't even want you here. So why don't you go back to where you came from? Next up, let's talk about the cost. So this is obviously very difficult to compare, but it is wildly important. The cost of living in both England and Canada kind of sucks. Not everywhere, but it is difficult. Buying a home here in Kent. Kent is where I have lived in England. This is my home base. This is my second home. Buying a house here sucks. But to be fair, buying a house in southern Ontario, where I'm from, also sucks. In both countries, the advice is basically to go someplace else. So when people hear that I'm in Kent, they're like, oh my God, you need to move up to the north of England. Things are cheaper. Homes are cheaper. It's like, okay, I don't know anybody up there. I don't have anything up there, but I could relocate again, I guess. Same thing with Ontario. Southern Ontario, the advice is basically go more and more rural. So you're going more and more out into the countryside where it is cheaper and there is nothing. So for comparison, I was trying to find like 2 cities that we could look at. So I'm from Southern Ontario. Ontario is a province. Kent is kind of like its own province, but within both areas, the prices can really change. So I thought it was interesting to compare Burlington versus Canterbury. So Burlington is a really nice city. The population as of 2017 was over 200,000, so like pretty decent size. On Numbeo, I can never say that word properly. On this website, comparing Canterbury to Burlington was quite interesting. So prices in Burlington tend to be lower than Canterbury. However, if you look at rent, rent prices in Burlington are 45.4% higher than in Canterbury. Insane. Renting prices and cost of homes in Southern Ontario is exploding. So even though it is difficult here, back home, really not any better. One thing that really stands out in terms of costs in the day-to-day life, the stuff that actually impacts me, is food. I am always so shocked at how expensive food has gotten back home in Ontario compared to here. I can go to Tesco and I can buy some really lovely ingredients and make a really lovely meal and not have to stress out about whether I have enough money to cover rent. Do you know what I mean? Next up, let's talk about
I know exactly what you mean. God dang it. You have to break the bank. Cost of living is just going up and up and up and up and up. It sucks. It sucks. But it's kind of the same situation here in the U.S. I guess it just depends on where you're at how much you're going to pay for a house and how much you're going to pay to rent. Where I lived at in Texas, I was paying by the time I moved, I was paying about $1,250 for a 1-bedroom apartment. And I enjoyed it. I liked my apartment. I liked my hometown. I was born and raised there, lived there for 25 years, right? But $1,250 for a 1-bedroom, as where now I live in Georgia. In the section I'm at in Georgia, I actually pay $1,100 for a 2-bedroom apartment. So, right, I get an extra bedroom, and it's $150 cheaper. So, prices just depend on where you're at, where you decide to move to. Like she said, the more rural you go, the cheaper things you're going to get. The bigger city you go, the more expensive things you're going to get. But food, food is so expensive. Food kills me. Food absolutely kills me, bro. I can't even get a bag of chicken nuggets for less than $5 no more. This is sad. It's painful. It's getting painful out here. All right, continue. My bad.
I have enough money to cover rent. Do you know what I mean? Next up, let's talk about the distance. Now, this is something that affects me literally every day. So it's very much at like the forefront of my mind. If I were to go back to Canada, if I decided, you know what, Canada outweighs the UK, there's more pros to living in Canada, the distance is something that I would really struggle with. I can walk to places here. I can walk to the train station. I can take a train all over the country. All over the UK. I could walk to a grocery store or a cafe or a post office or multiple bus stops. Those buses could take me all over the place. None
That's
of
awesome.
that I can do back home. You cannot live in 99% of Canada without a car. To not have a car, to not have the money to have a car or put in the time to get a license, to not have a car is so unbelievably isolating, because other than living in a giant city like Toronto, you must have a car. So it is something that I am very grateful for here. I sold my car back in 2020 and I have gotten around with public transport. No, I can't get everywhere. And yes, sometimes buying expensive train tickets kind of breaks my heart. And it's always when the barriers are open and nobody checks my ticket. But it is something that in my day-to-day life, it's very important to me. It's the forefront of my mind because I'm constantly walking places. So if I were to go back to Canada because I feel like it's better, it would be really difficult to get back to driving everywhere. Because I also find not having the ability to walk places is isolating. To have to be in a car by yourself to drive somewhere, I don't know. There's something about being able to walk and be part of like a community, of a village.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does that make sense? I would like to talk about the
sense.
Connection.
I feel like it absolutely does make sense. Yeah, and I mean, walking's a lot healthier as well. But yeah, same here in America. Gotta have a car. Car is a must need to get around here. If you don't have a car, you're gonna struggle. Point blank, period. So I feel like it would be nice in the UK to be able, hey, I'm able to walk to the grocery store. Hey, I'm able to walk to the train station that can get me anywhere I need to go around the country. So I don't need to own a car. I don't need to make a car payment. I don't need to pay car insurance. I don't need. So that's absolutely awesome. And I would say that's definitely a pro of being able, everything being a short distance away and being a walking distance.
And this is probably the most important and the most difficult. Whenever someone asks me, my dentist finds out I'm from Canada, someone at Tesco finds out I'm from Canada, literally anybody, and they say, wow, what do you miss most about Canada? And really, it comes down to my friends and family. That is the first thing that comes to mind. And that is the thing that I cannot replicate here. Of course, that's not the UK's fault. It's just the thing that stands out the most to me. So much of the things available in Canada, a lot of people ask me like food or like hobbies or that kind of stuff. Most of that, like 90% of it, I can replicate here. I can find food that is so similar, if not the same, hobbies that are the same, similar, like so much can be replicated in the UK. But friends, family, they just can't. And this is something that even nearly 8 years in, it still sucks. I can make friends here, certainly, and I have some lovely, lovely friends. But I also miss the friends that I've had since I was a kid. You know, it's just family, childhood friends. It's very difficult. And to be fair, a lot of the expats that I have known over the years have ultimately left the UK because of this. Because quite simply, it's not easy. Now, is life better in Canada or the UK?
The connection, I mean, that's huge. And when people start to feel homesick, it's not that they miss their town. It's just that they miss the people from where they grew up. And that's what families and friends play such a huge role in your life. Me, like I said, I moved from a different state. And I didn't move out the country, but even moving to a different state, I'm like a 10, 11-hour drive away. You do miss that family and you do miss those friends, those friendships. You don't get to hang out with them anymore. I can't just, hey, I want to go hang out tonight. And like she said, you can make new friends in other places. You can do all that, but still, they don't replace those friends that you built bonds with since childhood, that you went through so much with, good times and bad, that friends you basically consider like family, right? Those guys are irreplaceable. And so, moving anywhere, you're going to miss that connection to all those things that you had. But, I mean, that's one of the things about moving. You get to experience new things. You get to make new friends and everything. But you're still going to miss all the connections that you had previously. I still miss mine. Like people. I love playing basketball, and I can play basketball here, but I can't play basketball with my friends here. So it's a lot different. But we're gonna go ahead and let her finish.
Okay. Well, I don't know. There are a lot of things that I love about here. I love the culture. I love the balance. I love the pace. I love the distance. But there's also a lot of things here that I don't like. And my family's not here. And I struggle with that, every year. So is one place better than the other? I wish I knew. In any case, I feel very privileged to have two homes. I have a home here in England, and I have a home back in Ontario. Some people might find that very disorienting and very you don't feel grounded because you're kind of stuck in between two places. But I'm trying, over the years, I have realized it's better to look at it as a privilege because it is. I am able to experience life in both places for better or for worse, for pros and cons in each place. And my life is improved because of it. Even though it's not easy, it's still a privilege. Now, I love learning about British culture, and one of the ways to do that is very fun is through TV. So if you want to watch more content, definitely check out this one where I try to figure out what Blue Peter is. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, bye!
That's so dope. And I respect her conclusion. I kind of knew that conclusion was coming from the beginning, but I respect that conclusion. It's hard to figure out which she enjoyed better because both places provide absolutely great things, but there's still cons to both places as well. And so I think, like she said, it's incredible to have two places that she can call home. I mean, that's pretty dope. And I feel like no matter which one you choose, you're going to miss the other one. So let's say she packed up, moved everything back to Canada today. She's going to miss the UK. Just like living in the UK, she misses Canada. And so that's what's going to happen. But that is all we have. Let me know how you guys felt about that video. If you enjoyed, don't forget to subscribe. Give the video a thumbs up. I'll see you guys next time.